The story time, I was in the hospital a couple of days ago and had to get my gallbladder removed. Anyways, had a lot of time to think. And one of the biggest things I was thinking of was the brim or the rim on the hat. Everyone says slip stitch, but like, is it worth the time? I want to find out the truth. So this is our new segment, Curious Crocheter. I made some samples here that I wanted to show you guys. I made it out of this yarn, Knit and Crochet premium yarn. I think I got it at Joann's. Recommends a 5.5 millimeter hook, a 4 medium weight yarn. It's 90% cotton and 10% acrylic, so it doesn't have much stretch to it, which is one of the reasons why I picked it, so that we didn't think the stretch was just from the yarn. I want the stretch to actually be from the stitch. We're gonna do the stretch test. So, I have not stretched out these sample pieces yet, even though that's all I wanna do as soon as I get done is just give it a good stretch. But I haven't done it so that we can do this little test. So first things first, my samples. This is made of single crochet, back loop only. It's 8 stitches across, and I tried to make it about 2 inches long on each of these. Then we have the slip stitch, back loop only, 8 stitches across and about 2 inches high. So then we did half double crochets, and then on the second row you alternate posts, back post, front post, back post, front post. And it looks like this, but I realized it does look better on the round, which is how you would normally do it on a brim of a hat. So I made another little one. As you can see, the braid is much nicer when you keep going on the round. But I have seen it in patterns this way, so I figured I'd do both. This is gonna be 16 stitches across so that I could split it in half and it would be 8. And this is 8 stitches across. Start off with the stretch test. All right, so we're gonna do how far do they stretch, and then how far do they retract? So do they go back to the same shape? Does it only halfway? I'm hoping these sample sizes are big enough. Let's see. We're gonna start with the alternating back loop, front loop, not on the round. And it's starting out, it's about 2 inches, as you can see there. And then let's give it a good stretch. Looks like you can stretch it to about 3 inches. So about 50% of its size, not too bad, not too bad. And then does it go back? Honestly, yeah, it does. Looks like it goes back. I mean, it went back pretty good. Let's give it another stretch. And then give it a little tug together. All right, on the second one, maybe expand it about a 1/2 inch. I mean, it definitely goes back in. And then of course, if you gave it a little, it would be right back to the same size. So in all, I think that's not too bad. Okay. Let's see if we get the same results with the alternating on the round. All right. Let's give it a stretch. Again, it stretches. I'd say it's to about a 3. I mean, obviously we have a few more stitches here. So I'd say about the same amount on the round. And then yeah, I mean, if you squish it back in, it goes right back. It's not too bad, actually. I was pretty surprised. I thought this would actually stretch out. I have tons of hats like this, but so you can leave it stretched out, but if you wanted it to go back in, you would just give it a little scrunch and it takes its shape again. Cool, let's see if that happens with this next one. All right, this is the single crochets. So single crochet, back loop only. Let's see how much stretch it has. It's about the same stretch as the alternating, I'd say. It goes up to a 3 inch from 2 inches. Obviously, these are all going to be approximate, but I mean, all in all. Gives it a nice stretch. All right, now does it go back on its own? So I mean, it scrunches back in. No problem, you have to do it. You have to, it's a little loosey-goosey. I tried to make them all very similar intention-wise to show you guys I use the same hook, same yarn. I don't know, I think it goes back. It seems a little bit more loosey-goosey, doesn't it? But it's also quite a bit thinner than these two. Not quite a bit, but it is thinner. And width-wise, I mean, the ledges are about the same. Saving this one for last, because obviously everyone says this one's the way to go. So I want to know if that's true. Again, this is 8 stitches across, slip stitch, back loop only. Oh, I think we got a stretch winner for sure. Definitely doubled its width. Okay, that's pretty nice. And it has a nice, when it is pulled out, it's obviously nice and tight, where like the single crochet had so many holes in it. Let's do this together. Single crochet on top, slip stitch on the bottom. All right, now does it go back? So it automatically, without even pushing on it, goes down, because it was at 4 inches. So it went down about half, which seems pretty reliable on all of them. Goes down just a little bit. And then, yeah, I'd say it goes back down to its same amount. That's so interesting. All right. I mean, I'd say they all got pretty similar results, which I'm actually really surprised about, because I honestly assumed the slip stitch would be the only one that would go back into its original shape. So visually, I think that's gonna be a real matter of opinion. I mean, visually, I definitely like this one and this one the best. They have the nice braid, which is what I like to see, the little V stitches that are really defined and nice. There is some on the single crochet, but it just seems a little sloppy to me, honestly. So comparing the way they look, for me, it's definitely the alternating front post and back post, or the slip stitch. There is a couple other big differences. These, for instance, the single crochet versus the slip stitch, you can see how tall that single crochet got compared to the slip stitch, and that's the same exact amount of stitches. That's something to take into account. Obviously this one, just, you can kind of see like the ridges. It did okay on the test, like I'm not too mad about that, but to me it just looks a little sloppy, and that's my opinion. And then this one has a nice braid. So the question is, which one would I go for? Hey, it's Missy from the future. I just sitting here editing this video, and something was really bothering me. I felt like I left out some very pertinent information. So first off, I went over the stretch of it, and then I went over visually how I liked it, but I realized I left out 2 very key factors: how much yarn it took to do it, and how long it took. I did it. I sat here and crocheted you new swatches, and I wanted to show you. So I made some new ones in black. I'm not gonna do this all fancy, but I did them chain 9, 8 single crochets across for 6 rows. And I got some interesting results that I actually thought changed a lot of what I'm about to say in this video, to add in the single crochet. So basically, for the slip stitch, the alternating front post, back post, not on the round, so that the weight would be the same for the stitches, and then the single crochet back post only. The slip stitch I thought would be really good on this, but honestly, it took almost as much yarn as the single crochet, and it was half the size. So I don't know if you can see this here, but this is the same amount of rows, and this was 1.2 grams and this is 1.9 for that much more surface space. Front post was 2.9. So that's obviously a lot more yarn. So if you're running out of yarn, like single crochet is where you're gonna be, but then you're like, what about time? What if I just don't have any time? And again, I did the same amount of rows, guys, and I'm not gonna throw up my times on there because I did it really slow because I was trying to just be really consistent to give each stitch the right amount of time. And single crochet still won. I swore I thought slip stitch would be nice and easy because you're just going through, but somehow single crochet beat it by like 2 minutes. That's insane. And then yeah, back post, front post. It was definitely the slowest. And I thought I would be really good at this because we do this on our hats that we sell on Etsy. So I really am quite good at the front post, back post. That was some eye-opening work that just happened there. Science, maybe. Am I a scientist now? I don't know. All right, back to my opinion. I still agree with what I said, but I just wanted to give you guys those other facts. All right, so obviously, if I didn't know their head size at very good, like exact measurements of their head size are very close, I would definitely be going for the slip stitch because of that nice stretch. Obviously, it won on how much it stretches, which is going to be a big deal if you're selling to a wide variety of people. It has that nice knit look, which, I mean, is that a good thing? I don't know. This one, another thing you would have to do is you have to do this, and then you have to work your hat over it or sew it onto the hat, or, you know, obviously there's different ways to do it. I made hats with these rims where I had a vertical pattern. So yeah, I mean, if you're starting from the top and just going down, just want to get it done, this one's great. I would also say that this particular, the front post, back post, is really nice for alternating colors and making those cool patterns. So that can be really fun. It would be a lot harder to do on this because your rows are going like this, not like this. You would have to, like every other stitch, change color, or you would have to have vertical stripes on your hat. So really it just depends on what you're gonna do with it. But now you know the differences, you know what you got, you know what you're using. Let me know in the comments what your favorite stitch is to do for a rim of a hat. I am so excited to hear them. Make sure you subscribe before you leave. Follow us on our social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll see you next week with a brand new pattern.